Hey ladies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Danielle, and if you're new here, I help single women homeowners or women prepared to purchase a home or become homeowners who want to feel confident about maintaining, protecting, and running their homes without feeling overwhelmed. If you're thinking about purchasing a home, then this video is especially made for you. I'm going to walk you through what you really need to know before you start hunting for that dream home. And I also created a free home buying checklist that you can download. I'll link it in the description below. Now come here for a second. I want to tell you some things about what you should know before you buy this house. A huge mistake that most people make is they purchase their house based on the purchase price instead of what they can actually afford when it comes to the monthly payment. So you're going to have to pay attention to your mortgage payment, right? So we're talking property taxes, we're talking about the principal payment, the interest, the homeowner's insurance. Also, just looking at even PMI, so private mortgage insurance, which means that if your home is over a certain LTV or loan to value ratio, which is 80%, then you're going to have to pay private mortgage insurance, which is just an extra fee or cost to you from the bank because your loan to value is over a certain amount, which makes it riskier for the bank to lend you the money. So they want some type of insurance or reassurance to know that you won't default on this loan. So therefore, they're going to tack on that extra fee. Now, once your home drops under 80%, that PMI does drop off. But keep in mind, if you get an FHA loan, then that's on your loan for the life of the loan. And if you get a conventional loan, it will drop off again under 80% of your loan to value ratio. But we'll talk about that a little bit more in another video. But the bottom line is this. You still want a payment that allows you to save money, a payment that allows you to still live a little life and to have extra room for home repairs. The rule is if that payment stresses you out, then that might not be the house for you. Number 2, prepare financially. Before you even start looking for your dream home, you want to make sure that you have manageable debt, savings, and of course, a steady income. Keep this in mind because a lot of people forget about this part. Lenders care about your debt to income ratio. They're not going to question you about other things. So let's talk about that for a minute. Your debt to income ratio is going to be something that's given to the lender based on your credit report. On your credit report, they're going to see revolving credits such as credit cards. They're going to see installment loans such as car loans or mortgage. They're going to see student loans, right? They're going to see whatever's reporting to that credit report. But what about your car insurance? What about your cell phone, right? What about health insurance that you might be paying for? What about groceries? What about your gas bill? So these are things that aren't on your credit report that can still count towards your debt to income ratio. However, it doesn't matter to the lender because that's not reporting on your credit report. So that's not what they need in order to qualify you. But keep in mind that you have to keep an eye on that because that's how you qualify or disqualify yourself to ensure that you can afford that payment. Number 3, this is what you should be looking for in your home. I think that one thing we do is we can romanticize how beautiful a home is on the outside. We see the curb appeal, we see the neighborhood, we see the beautiful doors and, gorgeous paint and the floors and all that good stuff. And maybe the kitchen is just exactly what we've always wanted. But these are some things that we need to talk about that you need to ensure that you pay attention to so that you don't have bigger problems down the road. You need to pay attention to how old your roof is, okay? You need to look at any water stains that may be throughout the house or in the walls. You need to pay attention to the foundation. Are there any cracks in the foundation? Look at the electrical, look at the plumbing. Find out how old your furnace is. Find out how old your water heater is. Because again, cosmetic stuff is easy to look at and make you get distracted and overlook things. But the structural stuff is what can really be expensive down the line. Number 4, these are some first-time buyer mistakes. Some of the biggest mistakes I see are skipping inspections. You have the right to hire a contracted home inspector to come and inspect your home. Now, it's not a requirement by the lender to have this done. The lender is going to want to have an appraiser, but remember, an appraiser is not the same as a home inspector. The home inspector is in your best interest because they're going to check the foundation. They're going to check the electrical, the plumbing. They're going to look at the water heater. They're going to look at the furnace, the roof, all the things that normally wouldn't be looked at, especially by, of course, an appraiser. They're going to look at these things, and even a realtor for that matter, because, you know, those are two different titles. You know, they have two different responsibilities. So getting your home inspected definitely is in your best interest. When I bought my home, I did the same thing. I made sure that I had an inspector who pretty much went through my house with a fine-tooth comb. I mean, he didn't leave anything anything uncovered. He definitely went through all the nooks and crannies and told me what the real deal was. And what I really loved about him was that he was seasoned. He knew exactly where to look, how to look, and he educated me. So I believe he had been doing it for over 30 years. If you can find someone more seasoned that's been in the game for a long time, they can really help you and make sure that you're not buying a house that's going to cause you a whole bunch of trouble later. The next thing I see is falling in love with the home emotionally. Okay, when you're buying a home, you can't get attached to that home until it actually becomes yours, because you don't know what's going to happen in the process. You don't know if the appraisal is going to come in lower, right? And if you're able to even negotiate. Now you're looking at a different number. You don't know if there's going to be plumbing issues, right? You don't know what's happening underground, sewer issues. You just never know. So it's best to stay objective in the home buying process so that you can stay focused from a business aspect. And the last thing I noticed is that people aren't asking enough questions. And it can be because you're distracted, because you're so excited. Maybe there are questions you think may be stupid questions. But listen, this is the house that you're spending your hard-earned money on. You want to be in this house maybe for a long time, short time, it doesn't matter. If it's you, your family, or just yourself, these questions are pertinent to you purchasing this property. So here are just a few questions that you can ask. How old is the roof? How old are the furnace and the air condition? Has the home ever had any water damage? Has the home ever had any water flooded in the basement or the crawl space? When was the electric panel last updated? Are there any known plumbing issues? What repairs has the seller done lately? And are there any open permits on this property? These are just a few questions that can help you understand exactly what kind of property you're buying. And remember, this is a business decision first, and your feelings come after. And lastly, this is how you're going to win when it comes to purchasing your home. Your power is going to come from, one, being pre-approved already. So you're already coming to the table with money. They know that you're pre-approved and you're ready, set, go. It's also going to come from having a realtor that is very knowledgeable, right? Someone who's extremely experienced and well-connected. I was very fortunate to have a realtor who was all three of those things. He was able to help me to find the house that basically fit my needs. And that home inspector I told you about, well, he's a really good friend of his. So the rapport between the two and knowing that, you know, I had such a great team, that's going to give you your power too. And the last thing that's going to give you your power is knowing when to walk away. Listen, not every deal is a good deal. And if you have a good realtor on your team, he or she is going to be able to tell you the truth about this deal that you have, and you have the power. Okay, you have the power. If there's something on the table that you just absolutely don't agree with, or you're stuck in some parts of the negotiation, just be ready to walk away. There are plenty of homes out here. Remember, it's a buyer's market, so you have the upper hand. So if buying a home is one of your goals, start preparing now, mentally, financially, and emotionally. I want you to download my free home buying checklist below. And if you found this video helpful, make sure you share this with a friend. Make sure you subscribe, because I post videos weekly about DIY projects, home maintenance, safety, and buying smart as a single woman, because that's how you're going to keep your home well kept. I'll see you ladies in the next video.